Well, congratulations. I'm going to assume, because you're watching this video, that you're either through with the 40-day sugar fast or you're getting pretty close and you're wanting to know, what now? What's next? How do I transition into life beyond the fast? How do I not get tangled up into those old sins of compulsive eating, food fixation? I want to encourage you to do a couple things. The first, I'm just going to throw out at the end of this video a couple of the boundaries that I've set for myself. But first, I want to tell you that it's okay if you need to go through this again. It's okay if you're at the end of 40 days going, that scratched the surface. I'm now not having headaches. But I know as soon as I pop that first morsel in my mouth, I'm going to be right there. So if that's where you are, I just want to encourage you, don't stop. You don't need to make the choice today to be sugar-free forever. But if you're just barely starting your journey of feeling free, then don't go right back into bondage again. We want the freedom to really take root and feel some victory over this addiction before you go having a dessert tonight. That's just not the right way to celebrate the end of a 40-day sugar fast with binging on your favorite treats that you've missed for 40 days. If this really has been a life issue for you, or at least a recent life issue, then you might need more than 40 days. I remember my friend Amy Bennett, she said that she went through the sugar fast and then she realized it wasn't enough. So she did another 40 days. And then she did another 40 days. And when she got to the end of that, she realized, okay, I feel better. This is not a healthy relationship for me. Kind of like when you're in an unhealthy relationship with another person and you say, that's not a healthy relationship. I love them, but they're not loving me back. Some of us have that relationship with sugar. I love sugar, but it's abusing my body. It's abusing my emotions. This is not a healthy relationship. But it took her 120 days, not 40 days, to come to that conclusion. So I don't know where you are in your journey. You might be at the end of 40 days, but realize I need to keep going on, because we don't want to fall right back into those old patterns. We don't want to get all tangled up again with those same old sins. Not that sugar is a sin, but if it stops you from running to Christ, if it stops you from living the free life He died to give you for free, then you need to keep pursuing freedom in Christ. It's already yours, but how do you walk it? I'm reminded of the fruit of the Spirit. I've shared this before in our 40-day fasts. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But it goes on in Galatians 5 to say, when you live by the Spirit, keep in step with the Spirit. And we don't want to not keep in step with the Spirit just because our 40 days of fasting are through. We want to keep in step with the Spirit, which means we want to keep in step with self-control. And if you can't say yes to sugar without saying, I'm off the hook and I can't stop eating sugar, then maybe you need another 40 days. So there's that. Another big boundary that I've set for myself is I don't sugar alone. I don't eat sugar alone. For some people, it's alcohol. They realize that it's too much of a temptation to turn to alcohol because it's 5 o'clock somewhere to get through the stress of your mothering afternoon or your work day. And you can't not have the nightly glass of wine that relaxes your muscles and makes it all feel manageable. So I would say to someone who struggles with that, we need to make sure if you're going to drink alcohol that you're drinking it at the right time with the right people. But when you're drinking it by yourself as a coping mechanism, that's not the right time. And you're not the right person to do it with. That's not stable. So what about if sugar's our go-to coping mechanism? What if we are self-medicating, not with alcohol, but with sugar? If we're self-medicating with shopping, all these things we need to recognize this isn't healthy. I need to put it in its rightful place. Does that mean you can't go shopping? No, but you have to be well, not going shopping to make you well. And the same is true with sugar. So I don't eat alone. And that can be hard when I'm making a treat for a dinner party, but I just remind myself, no, when the guests come over, I'm going to have a lemon bar. When the guests come over, I'm going to have a serving of brownies. I'm going to have a serving of whatever that special thing is. And that's the place where I am right now. But after 5 40-day sugar fasts, what I did realize, it's not just not eating sugar alone. I can actually make a lot of wonderful desserts without refined sugars. So sometimes I'll switch out stevia, I'll switch out monk fruit for the recipes, and I've learned to make some really wonderful family favorites without all the refined sugars. When I'm making muffins for the kids in the morning, I make it with raw honey or maple syrup. So there are lots of ways that you can tweak your past favorite foods and make them all new. There are also lots of great recipes to find online. So there are lots of things you can do. You can start the fast over and go another 40 days. You can learn to supplement your sweet treats with new recipes, with stevia, other sweeteners that aren't refined sugars. But back to the heart of this whole journey isn't sugar. It's a life of tasting and seeing that Christ is enough. So whatever you're doing, whether you're deciding to go right back into another 40 days, transition into a sugar-free life, or start working on recipes to fill out your repertoire of recipes with some sugar-free options, some sugar-free desserts, there are so many things you can do. And I hope you come up with a plan. And remember the last video about continuing a feasting life? May have to do with also having elements of fasting in your life. An early morning fast. Maybe you fast from breakfast 5 days a week so that those days you can really let yourself get hungry for the only thing that's really going to satisfy your life. But back to the heart of this message. We are fasting from sugar so that we can feast on Christ. We are seeking Him first and foremost above all else, because He is the thing that satisfies. He is sweet, and He invites us in His word. He says, taste and see how sweet I am. So that's what I want you to do. And if there's anything that gets in the way of that, remember, cut it off. Cast it down, gouge it out, get rid of it. It's better to get rid of a little sugar than have that stumbling block between you and the Lord. I hope that you have had a wonderful time with Him and a good time with me these 40 days. And if you need to go right into another 40-day sugar fast, invite some friends to come along, do it again. And maybe you do need to break up with sugar. Maybe you love sugar more than sugar loves you, but I know the one who loves you most of all. So please keep feasting on Him.